This may look like something out of a tropical paradise, but with a little help and a full day's work, I put this water garden in just one day. And it's not as difficult as you might think.
Here's the 8.5 foot mark, Justin.
All right, great.
Even though you can put in a water garden by yourself, sometimes you may want to call in the experts to give you some guidance. Justin and Peter do this for a living, and they're helping to put this one in. Justin, about how many of these do you put in a year as compared to the do-it-yourselfer?
Our company normally puts in about 20 a year. I would say on an average, we have 300 to 400 customers per year that start a pond of their own.
How long does that take for them to complete the project?
Usually it'll take about a week, maybe even a weekend, depending on the size of the pond.
So between the three of us, we should be able to get this one put in a day.
I should think so.
Great.
If you can just string that around.
We're using this string to get our shape, and the most popular shape of most of the ponds are the kidney shape.
And we're doing a 6 foot by 8 foot pond, which will give us about 750 gallons, which is a fair size for a beginner.
And also we've chosen a sunny location to put this pond in because you need 5 to 6 hours of good sunlight for your aquatic plants and your fish to thrive in. The next step is to spray paint over your string because this will give you a permanent mark to follow once you pull the string up when you start to dig, and you won't lose the shape of your pond. Also, we went ahead and dug in the ground to determine where our sprinkler system is. We know that the sprinkler system isn't under the pond, so it's okay to put it here. We've determined that the sprinkler system goes at an L shape along the patio. Once you're finished painting, you can take the string up and start digging. How deep do we need to dig this?
We're going 18 inches down with this one.
And why is that?
18 inches is a really good depth for aquatic plants and fish.
It's always a good idea to call your utility company and let them come out before you dig. They'll come out and check for buried lines, and normally they come out for free of charge. And let me give you a tip. When you're digging out the sides, put your shovel in at a slight slope. That way your dirt doesn't cave in on you while you're digging. And keep the extra dirt handy because we're going to be using it later. The next step after you finish digging is to drive these stakes all the way around your pond. Now the reason that you want to do that is because this backyard has a slight slope to it, and even if you think yours doesn't, it's recommended that you do this anyway. What you're doing is you're starting at the highest point of your pond and you're driving that first stake in. Then you're going stake by stake to level each one with the next. That way you're guaranteed that your pond at both ends is level. Almost finished. Remember earlier I told you that we were saving the dirt to use later? Well, here's where we're going to need it. We're backfilling to the top of the stakes to make sure the ground around our pond is level. Our next step is to put down the rubber lining. We didn't have to put any sand down, but if you live in areas of the country where you have rocky soil, it's a good idea to put down some sand, or even old carpet will work. Anything that will cushion the underneath of the rubber lining. Now, Justin, you said that you recommend to use the rubber over the plastic lining. Why is that?
That's right. This is a 45 mil EPDM rubber, and it's got a life expectancy of about 50 to 60 years. It's much more durable than a lot of the plastics that some people use to build ponds with, and I think it's worth spending the extra few dollars for a thicker, more durable liner.
So our next step is to go ahead and start filling this with water. Before you dig your pond, you may want to just make sure that your water hose reaches the pond to make your job a little easier. Now here's where we want to start tucking this, is that right?
Right. We're basically trying to do what I call a reverse bed fold. Something like that. Okay, where the excess slack is brought in on itself in the corners.
We're nearing the end of building our pond. What we're doing now is laying down some mortar to set our stones on top, and we'll do this all the way around. This is where it's another good idea to have help because your mortar sets up quickly so we can all work together to get this project done. And at the same time, we're still filling up our pond with water. And what we want to do as it's filling up is go ahead and keep pulling your rubber sheeting out to get your wrinkles out. And that's just to keep it looking really nice. Not only is it important to set your rocks quickly, you want to clean your rocks as well because the mortar will stain them. And we're also cleaning around the edge of the lining too. And you don't have to worry about your water being dirty because at this point we've stopped filling the pond and we're going to put a pump in to pump out the dirty water. When we're finished, we'll put clean water back in. Now that we've got our rocks in place, I'm finishing up by cutting this rubber lining around the edges. And Peter's been going behind me, backfilling with dirt up against the rocks. Justin's putting the pump pond together, which you need to run your filter system. Justin, why don't you tell us how this system works?
Sure. Basically what we have is a 500 gallon per hour pump that's pushing water through this flexible tubing. It then runs into an ultraviolet clarifier. What it does is it kills the single cell algae, which is what gives you green water. So that'll help keep the water crystal clear. The water then goes through a biological clarifier, which ensures that the water stays healthy, and then it returns to the pond.
So obviously we could just put some landscaping around that to make that area look better.
Absolutely.
And that's not the only thing that we're adding to the pond to make it look good. We're also putting in a fountain just to give the pond some character and another touch of beauty. Now comes a really fun part of our project, adding the plants and the fish. You can choose any type of aquatic plant that you want, and you'll have hundreds to choose from. This is also the time that you want to add the dechlorinator to the water. This removes all the chlorine from the municipal water. And when it comes to choosing your fish, for a pond this size, the goldfish varieties are ideal. In the end, $1,500 seems like a small price to pay to have a quiet sanctuary that enhances the beauty of your backyard.